When the Egyptian Air Force suddenly announced in May 2025 that it was re-evaluating its purchase program of 105 FA-50 fighters with South Korea, the eyes of the international arms trade market instantly focused on one core question: does this seemingly ordinary order adjustment signal a profound change in the Middle East, and even the global military landscape? The answer may be hidden in the recent myth of China's J-10 fighters in the Indo-Pakistani conflict. With a record of 6-0 shot down the Indian Rafale fighters, this victory not only rewrote the history of the air war in South Asia, but also as a boulder thrown into the water, provoking Egypt and even the Middle East countries to pay more attention to the Rafale. This victory not only rewrote the history of South Asia's air war, but also, like a stone thrown into the water, aroused Egypt and even the Middle East countries to a new perception of China's weapons system. Egypt initially chose the South Korean FA-50 fighter, behind a complex set of practical considerations. As the third largest economy in Africa, Egypt's military budget for 2025 only accounts for 2.8% of GDP. Limited funds forced the military to pursue low-cost replacement in equipment procurement. The FA-50, as a light combat trainer, costs about $30 million per unit, which is only 77% of the J-10, and shares 70% of its spare parts with Egypt's existing F-16 fleet, significantly reducing maintenance costs. South Korea's commitment to technology transfer, plus local production model, but also in line with the development of Egypt's defense industry long-term demand. In addition, the FA-50 equipped with the US F-404 engine and a PG-67 radar, theoretically compatible with Egypt's existing Link 16 data chain system, the formation of the F-16, and the high and low match. However, this seemingly smart choice, but in just 1 month suffered a dramatic reversal. The turning point began in April 2025. China and Egypt, Eagle of Civilization, 2025, joint training. China J-10 in the simulation of confrontation showed overwhelming advantage. Its KLJ-7 active phased array radar detection distance of 170 kilometers, far more than the FA-50's 135 kilometers. PL-15 missiles 150 kilometers range. More let the Egyptian Air Force realize that the F-16 is the best choice, but it is not a good choice. The range of PL-15 missiles is 150 kilometers, which makes the Egyptian Air Force realize the subversive significance of over-the-horizon strike to modern air warfare. More importantly, J-10 in the exercise with China's Air Marshal 500 early warning aircraft, Red Flag 9B air defense system, building a found that destroy systematic ability. This is exactly the Egyptian universal brand. Equipment has long lacked the core of the equipment long-term lack of core competitiveness. If the joint training to Egypt's heart, then early May of the India-Pakistan conflict is completely shocked. Pakistan Air Force to J-10 as the core, with ZDK-03 early warning aircraft and PL-15 missiles in the airspace over Kashmir to create a 6-0 amazing record. Among them, 3 French Rafale fighters fell, especially eye-catching. J-10's victory, the essence of China's military industry, systematic output, ability to win. Pakistan Air Force's success, from the early warning aircraft fighters to missiles, the whole link synergy. ZDK-03 early warning aircraft to provide 400 kilometers range of battlefield awareness. J-10 through the data chain to receive information on the target and launch a silent strike. PL-15 by virtue of the double pulse engine and active radar guidance in a complex electromagnetic environment, accurate hunting targets. The PL-15, with its double pulse engine and active radar guidance, precisely hunts targets in the complex electromagnetic environment. This closed-loop combat system is precisely the strategic goal that Egypt has long desired, but is difficult to realize through the patchwork of US, Russian and French equipment. Egypt's hesitation, reflecting the survival of small and medium-sized countries in the game of great powers, in the game of military trade wisdom. FA-50, although low cost, but its core components rely on the US supply. Once the US-Egyptian relations change, the risk of supply chain disruption will be a direct threat to the Egyptian Air Force combat power. The program provided by China is more strategic depth, commitment to set up J-10 maintenance center in Egypt and transfer part of the production line, and even allow the Suez Canal tolls share to pay for the goods. This kind of economic plus technology plus security bundling mode has been verified in Pakistan, the Pakistani side to $1.4 billion to purchase 36 J-10, and at the same time to obtain the full cycle of maintenance support and pilot training, the formation of a sustainable combat force generation mechanism. The deeper impact is that the rise of the J-10 is dismantling the West's monopoly on the high-end arms trade market. France's Dassault Aviation is worried that Egypt has not yet delivered the second batch of Rafale orders may be cancelled, and Indonesia has also urgently called off the $8.1 billion worth of 24 Rafale procurement program. In stark contrast, China's share of the global military trade is approaching 20%, and its core competitiveness has shifted from low-price dumping to system empowerment. From fighter jets and AWACS to laser weapons and drone swarms, China can provide coverage of the training, combat, maintenance. China can provide a full set of solutions, covering training, combat, maintenance, while the US and the West are still clinging to the old logic of only selling weapons, regardless of the system. If Egypt finally turned to J-10, its significance is far more than a single order. As the first country in the Middle East to be equipped with Chinese warplanes, air defense systems and early warning aircraft, Egypt will build a unique Chinese system advantage. This demonstration effect may trigger a chain reaction. Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates and other traditional US-made equipment users, or to reassess the combat value of Chinese weapons, and Algeria, Iran and other Russian equipment-dominated countries may also seek diversified procurement to avoid the risk of sanctions. In the long run, China's military industries' systematic export mode is rewriting the rules of the global military race, from competing in standalone performance to ecological construction capabilities. When the FA-50 due to shell-type strategy eclipsed, when the J-10 victory has opened a door to the global high-end military market for China, and the world behind the door is waiting for more made in China to rewrite the rules. It is worth noting that the rise of China's military trade is not only the embodiment of technical strength, but also the victory of strategic thinking. At the Lankai International Air Show, J-10 demonstrated multi-weapon compatibility as a key selling point to attract Middle Eastern countries. This plug-and-play flexibility is perfectly suited to Egypt's mixed, 8-nation alliance equipment system, while South Korea's FA-50 is highly dependent on US-made weapons systems, instead of becoming a shackle of tactical options. In addition, China's commitment to transfer technology without political conditions, in sharp contrast to the US human rights review of F-16 exports, has further strengthened Egypt's demand for strategic autonomy. The outcome of this battle for orders may reshape the global arms trade landscape. South Korea's military industry was confident that it could win the war with the FA-50's assembled cooperation and Western technology endorsement, but it underestimated the disruptive impact of battle testing on decision-making. With a unit price of $38.88 million, the J-10 crushed the $76 million Rafale in terms of cost-effectiveness, and completely exposed the inherent shortcomings of the FA-50 as an improved version of the trainer aircraft with its systematic combat capability. When the Egyptian Air Force realized that light fighters to fill the gap in combat power in the modern air war is tantamount to using a fire engine to fight forest fires, the shift to a real medium-sized multi-purpose fighter aircraft has become an inevitable choice. The paradox of history is that the catalyst for this change was a regional conflict. Pakistan, with J-10 to create the printed advertisement effect, not only let the Middle East countries witness the power of China's weapons in combat, but also revealed the underlying logic of the future war. Systematic confrontation has replaced the performance of a single machine competition. When Egypt's radar screen appeared for the first time by the Chinese early warning aircraft woven Skynet, when the PL-15 missiles in the exercise across the horizon accurately hit the target, this ancient civilized countries may finally understand a truly modern air force. The need is not a patchwork of parts, but from perception to the strike of the complete closed loop. And on this road, China provides not only warplanes, but also a key to open the door to the future.